morning. It's hard to believe that this is already week 2 of Internet W233, and I've been looking over your discussions and looking over your learning diaries, and I'm quite pleased about what I'm seeing, okay? What I'd like to do is I'd like to do 3 things this morning. As I said, we're not going to be having virtual classes, these little vodcasts, they're called, or sort of going to substitute for that. What I'd like to do is I'd like to explain the grading so far. I'm sure you're always very, very interested in that. Then I'd like to talk about this week, what we're going to do this week, basically. And then 3, I want to continue to talk about topics. Everything's kind of integrated here. And tell you about the little topic quiz that's coming up shortly. It's just a fun quiz. It's only meant to help you. So those are the 3 things I'm going to cover. First of all, the grading. So I've gone through the discussions. And basically, if you got a 70, that means you only made 1 post. If you got an 80, that means you made 2 posts. If you got a 90, that means you made 3 posts. And if you got 100, that means you made 4 posts. If you got a 0, of course, it means you didn't make any at all. All right. So in order to get a good grade on the discussions, you have to make 4 posts. Theoretically, 1 is to the initial topic itself. Talk about the topic. 2 of them are to your peers, and 1 of them is to me. I'm not a real stickler. As long as you have 4 posts and there's some content there, you get the grade. This is meant simply to be like classroom discussion, okay? Classroom discussion is graded. You got a class participation grade, but you're not graded on exactly what you said or how your answer worked or that kind of thing or how many times you talked or didn't talk. It's sort of an overall impression. Blackboard counts these for me. I go in and take a look at them, all right, and make sure that you're actually doing them and have some content there and talking nicely, of course, to each other. And as I said, I'm very pleased with what I've seen so far, and of course you've seen my own podcast in there. So the 2 discussions I graded were the top 10 list, to which I responded to everyone individually because I felt those were very important in terms of topic choices. And then I graded the feminism discussion for week 1, which I think is a fun discussion, but I didn't respond individually to each person. And then I looked at your learning diaries to make sure that you're doing the content and that the material's there, but I'm not responding to those, all right? That's your learning. That learning's for you. You can't learn without reading the material, and you can't learn without taking some notes on the material and thinking about it. So I do go through and look at it and say, oh, this student's a good writer, that kind of thing. So I'm looking at your writing, and so I'm aware of what you're doing. I would like to point out that in the week 1 learning diary, there's supposed to be 2 posts, okay? It's very critical that you keep them separate. Post 1, post 2. You always have to do the number that I tell you, all right? Don't blur them all together. And 2, a couple of you may have missed the place where I said in the readings that the whole issue of contact zones is buried inside the Stuart Green essay, all right? Contact zones are inside there. And the purpose of having you talk about contact zones is that's another great place to find topic choices, okay? Where's the friction in your life? That's what a contact zone is. Any place you come in contact with something else that's kind of difficult. College is a contact zone, okay? Meeting new people is a contact zone. Traveling is a contact zone. Your own relationship with your significant other, that's a contact zone. Your relationship with your kids, those are all contact zones. Those are places where there's a little heat, little friction. Okay, those make great topics, all right? So that's why I had you read that. So, if you got a grade that surprised you or you didn't like, okay, this is just, barely the end of week 1, beginning of week 2. I will have a little tolerance this week, so you can contact me and say, hey, Mr. Weller, I didn't understand my grade, or sorry I screwed up. I've gone ahead and done the complete assignment now. Would you please regrade it, okay? Well, if you've done it and tell me that you've done it, I'll go back and regrade it, all right? Don't whine to me, please. Instead, just tell me, hey, Mr. Weller, I didn't quite understand, or I was behind because of something. So this week only, I'll give you a grace period, all right? You can go back and do them, but you must email me through Blackboard and tell me that you did them. I won't know otherwise. When something's graded, I don't look at it again, okay? So it's very critical. So this week only, if you want to go back and improve your grade to 100 and can fix it, put in the stuff you're supposed to put in there, then email me and say, hey, Mr. Weller, I completed those. Tell me which ones, okay, please, and then I can go and change the grade for you. I'm more than happy to do that this first week, okay? Now, this week's readings, I think, are very important. You have 2, as usual. You usually have 2 every week. And this is the first time you're actually using your textbook, okay? So you really must have the textbook, all right? It's the short edition of it. And what you got to do is you got to read Chapter 1. And I'm trying to open this stuff up here. Yeah. Chapter 1 is about why do we argue? Why do we write good arguments? Okay, everything's an argument is my contention. This paper is going to be an argument. I don't mean a fight. I don't mean a battle. I don't mean that kind of thing. But basically, you got to take a position and argue that this is a worthwhile position. It's that simple. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to read the Chapter 1 textbook item. Why argue? That'll kind of help get you acquainted with this concept. And then the second reading is essay by Richard Fulkerson, making the research paper worth your time. And that's the whole goal of this course, is to have this research paper be worth your time. So these are two critical readings. They really get you off on the right start, okay? Then, of course, you'll see that the learning diary prompts are related to the readings. There's 2 of them again. By the way, there's a total of 21 learning diary prompts over a 10-week period. So your grade on your learning diary is going to change weekly, okay? Because I'm going to go in there every week and make sure you're doing them. If some week you don't do it, your grade is going to get lower, right? If you get caught up, your grade will get higher. Your final grade will be on week 11, all right? So you've got 10 weeks to get them all done. Week 11, that'll be your final grade for the learning diary. So don't be surprised if they shift up and down. If you do them perfectly each week, do all of them each week, you get 100, okay? So your first learning diary post is about Chapter 1. It's about Rachel Carson. She wrote about DDT, a pesticide, how it's affecting the Everglades, affecting the environment. I used to live right next to the Everglades, spent lots of time hiking the Everglades as a kid. Very, very interesting essay, and it kind of gives you an idea of how a research paper works. It's kind of a critical thinking project. It's not necessarily a research paper, but it gives you this idea of what does critical thinking really mean. Don't forget, some people didn't believe that DDT affected anything, didn't want to believe it, and it was very, very controversial at the time. Extremely. It was very brave of her to even write this essay. It was very brave of the publishing company to even publish it. It created a furor, okay, huge backlash, all right. So you'll write about that in your learning diary. And then you'll write about the Fulkerson essay. That's the PDF file I sent for the reading. You'll write about that. And that's a lot about topic choice again, and it's a lot about how a research paper can go well or go wrong. All right? It's the difference between a high school research paper and a college research paper and what we're trying to accomplish here. Please be very detailed in this second post about the Fulkerson essay. Make sure you really understand Fulkerson's 5 categories of what can go wrong with a paper and why they can go wrong. This essay is critical to your success in this class. You're absolutely going to have to trust me on that, please. And then your discussion topic this week is a little similar to the top 10 list. It's a little more difficult, though, because I want you to think of 3 possible topic areas and write about them in this discussion post. And then I want you to share these with your friends, your peers, okay? And then I'm going to look at these and comment individually. Again, it's very, very important that I see a lot of good detail here, because you'll get personalized comments from me just like you did in the top 10 list, okay? So this is kind of a refinement of the top 10 list. It's very critical that you do well. Please go back and read my comments on your top 10 list, okay? Please go back to week 1. Look in the discussion, top 10 list discussion, find my comments to you, okay, just find the original one of my comments to be there, and take a good hard look at that and think about what I said, okay. Now, I'm not dictatorial about topics. Just because I said, hey, this is good and this is good, you're not limited to that, or you can ignore me if you want, okay. But my goal is to help you find a topic that works really well for you. Okay, last but not least, there will be a quiz later this week. I'll send you an email about it or make an announcement about it so that you know it's available. The quiz is meant to be fun. I do want you to take it, all right, but it's just simply for you. It's going to help you work on the topic. By the way, if you go into the extra credit folder and look at the Ask the Librarian, it's also in the discussions. It's called ATL Ask the Librarian. If you want to ask the librarian this week a little bit about, how to find a good topic or what does she think about your ideas, feel free to do that. She's here this week, and then she's gone for 2 weeks. She's going to Yellowstone National Park with her horses, okay? So have some mercy on her. Don't wait till Friday. So if you want to talk to her this week, go ahead and go into the Ask the Librarian discussion, ATL. It's also in the extra credit folder. Go right there, and you can make your post, your question, and she'll get right back to you this week. She's aware of this. She's watching this week, and she's standing by like an operator. So, hey, I need to keep this short. If you have any questions, of course, please mail me through Blackboard. I'm available all week long.